All right, Jamaicans are still reeling from what some dub as one of the darkest days in the country's athletics history, but we're taking some time to relish in the nostalgia of the glory days. One of the pioneers of Jamaican female sprinting dominance, five-time Olympian Veronica Campbell-Brown, who won 8 Olympic medals, including gold in 2004 and 2008 over 200 meters, and a 21 total global medals. The 43-year-old officially retired in 2021, but her work in the sport continues, particularly with the youth, and that's part of the reason she's in Jamaica. She's the ambassador, the patron for the 40th staging of the JTA Sagicor National Athletics Championship, which started today at the National Stadium in Kingston. Now, several of the island's greats, including VCB, have competed at the event, contested among the 14 parishes, and she is back to help inspire the next generation. We are pleased to welcome Veronica Campbell-Brown, truly one of the greats. I was just about to say of our sport, but then I remember that Donald is also here, so I'm not able to say of our VCB. It is such a pleasure to have you here and to have you on the SportsMax Zone. How are you doing, first of all?
Thank you for having me. I am delighted to be here.
And we're delighted to have you. First of all, so I follow you on social media, right? Especially on Instagram. And one of the things that strikes me every single time, especially when you are doing your workouts, and I'm like, this is not a retired athlete. Do you ever miss it?
Initially, I did. I missed walking away from the sport. I retired from the sport. But I got over it quickly because I felt like I did my time, and so I felt satisfied when I hung my spikes up. In regards to working out, it is in my DNA. I can't help it. I love to work out. I want to show women and even men too that is you need to keep working out regardless of your age. And I have 2 young ones, and so I have to keep up with their energy and to have to keep in shape. So I love working out.
Can I tell you a story? So one day I was sitting right here in this chair and I was looking at one of the videos. And I showed it to Lance. And Lance said, but VCB looks as if she's training for a return. You look that impressive and your form still looks amazing. Have you ever considered like masters athletics?
No, I haven't considered it. But at the Grand Slam meet in Marmar, Atto looked at me and he said, you know, VCB, I could see you returning to Masters to break all the records. So I'm like, you put that in the back of my head, but I don't think I will return to the Masters. I'm just enjoy working out now, staying in shape, inspire people to be healthy, and also to promote my activewear line, VCB Fit. And so a lot of the videos, my workout videos, I'm showcasing the benefit of our gear and things of that sort. And so it is in my DNA, as I said, and it's just a great feeling to work out. It's not only good physically, but mentally. It's like a mental refresh for me when I get out there and do some really good workout.
Yeah, that's what I tell the guys every single day. You're here in Jamaica, and you speak about inspiring the next generation. The JTA Sagicor National Athletics Championships, we're talking about athletes from as young as, 6, 7 years old, all the way up to about, 15 years old. And they are competing over 2 days for their parishes. You are the patron of this meet. You were there today. What was that like to return to a stage that essentially where you began?
Yeah, it felt like a full circle moment. I competed representing Trelawney many years ago. I'm not going to say how long ago that was, but it felt good to return to the championship. I was able to go around to all the parishes. Today I had some questions and I interact and encourage the athletes, and they're excited. They have so much grit, and it's just a great feeling to watch them out there just giving their all at competing.
Yeah, and was it difficult for you to say yes to be the ambassador of this event?
No, it wasn't easy, yes, because as I said, I enjoy inspiring and encouraging the youth, and I applaud Sagicor for what they're doing. They are investing in the future of Jamaican athletics. And so it was an easiest for me to come back and to support, encourage, and inspire the youth to continue working hard, because these are the future of Jamaican track and field.
What do you thought about the new track at the National Stadium?
I love the color. It's right in tune with the Jamaican vibe. So I really like the color, and of course I don't get a chance to run on it. But you know what? Maybe tomorrow I will. I think we will have kind of an exhibition race tomorrow. So I get to sample the new color. So, but it's beautiful. I like the new upgrade, and I know that the athletes are enjoying competing with the beautiful colors that the track is.
Could you feel the enthusiasm from the kids that you're interacting with when they were competing and when they were prepping to compete as well?
Absolutely, they're excited. As I said, I went around and I had conversation with several of the kids, and they are very excited about competing, and a lot of them are looking forward to resting after to return tomorrow. So they are focused, they're in their zone, and they are in tune with what is going on. And it is amazing to see that the teachers and the community is behind these young kids and pushing them, because we need the support at the grassroots level. And I'm happy that Sajid is behind this great development.
Yeah, VCB, let me ask you this, and let me say that you don't look a day older than when you were competing, the way you look now. But we know that you were inspired by Merlene Ottey as a teenager growing up. And talk to us about meeting her when you were a teenager and the kind of inspiration that gave you, and juxtapose that now against your role, that you can pretty much play the same role with these youngsters.
Yeah, it was a great encounter. The first time I met Merlene, she was always very sweet, very encouraging, and we maintain a long relationship. We communicate occasionally, and she's still inspiring. She's always
even now
she's very positive. She's always encouraging me, and so it was a great encounter. And so whenever I meet a young athlete, I make sure that they feel that I welcome them. I make sure that they feel special, and I give them words of encouragement. And so it is important for us as the ones who have gone before to make sure that we are making sure that the young athlete, when we encounter, they have a good experience that they can walk away with.
Yeah, I remember as a teenager, you're one of the few athletes globally that won World Youth, World Junior, and World titles as a senior, because that's not really easy to achieve. A lot of athletes who are sensational at 17, 18 years old don't transition in the way that you did. I remember at the Grenada Carifta Games in 2000, when you won the 200 in a championship record 23:05, Amadeo Francis, the Puerto Rican, who was an IAAF vice president at the time, and he was a NACAC president. I did an interview with him at the Games, and he said, that girl is going to be an Olympic champion. This was in 2000. You were just a couple of weeks away from, I think, your 18th birthday, but you were brilliant. Yeah. He spotted you as someone who will be a global champion. Did you feel that way at that time when you were competing?
I know that I had a special gift, and it didn't really dawn on me what my talent was, or what I could go on to accomplish, until one of my primary school teachers let me know that I should embark on a career in athletics, because he see the potential. And that is why event like the championship that is going on now at the stadium is important, because there are teachers and there are people in the school system that can see these talents and encourage, and that little one seed that is planted can be instrumental in helping these kids to go on to maximize their potential.
The thing I remember about you when you were attending Veer is that you're a very serious girl. Like you took it to a next level in terms of focus, and I am wondering if that's how you would tell the kids now to approach it in terms of being serious and vigilant. But you had your ideals and what you wanted to become. And it wasn't anything that was forced upon you. This was what you really thought about and said, you know what, I probably at that stage you were like, I really want to be a legend in this sport. Yeah. How were you able to navigate that while going through the latter stages of your childhood as well?
So it was instilled in me. I discovered my talent as a young girl, and then it was nurtured by my community. And so I had goals in mind. From I was young, when I was at Veer Technical High School, one of my dreams was to be an Olympic gold medalist. And as a result, I know that in order for me to achieve that, it took a lot of hard work, focus, and dedication. And a lot of people think that I was serious when I was competing, but I was in my zone. That's what it takes. It's like you're in a tunnel vision, and I wasn't focused on what was going on around me. So I seemed so focused, but I seemed so serious, but it was focused. So I tell the young kids to focus, work hard, and whatever focus is for them, if it's mean putting on their music, if it's mean don't talking to anyone, if it's mean going to a corner by themselves, whatever it takes for them to feel that they're focused on the task at hand, I think that's what it takes to stay in that mental zone.
So I remember 2004, after you won the gold medal in the 200 meters, right? And you were there coaching, and I was there ecstatic looking on and say, so when I should not celebrate? Like, and then Aileen took your hand, and I'm like, thank you. I think some of us who are introverts need an Aileen in our lives to kind of just draw us out.
Yeah.
Describe that moment, because I love to watch that over and over.
Aileen is a big sister. She took me under her wing from when we were at Very Technical High School, and she's always the supportive, energetic type. And of course, I won that race. I'm not big on the celebration, and she like, let's go, we have to do a victory lap. And so she's that sweetheart. She is, she brings the energy to the team. And it was a great moment to share that with her. As I said, she was like a big sister at Very Technical High School, and we maintain a really good relationship. So I enjoyed that moment.
And there's one more moment that I will always remember as well, when you're on the podium and the anthem was being played. I mean, a lot of discussion now in terms of pride of place and what it means to you. And I've always wondered if the tears were coming from a personal standpoint, or was it from a national standpoint, based on the fact that you had broken a massive barrier in becoming that first Caribbean athlete to win sprinting gold at the Olympics? Yeah.
I think it was both. It was a lifetime dream come reality, and also the national pride of being on this podium and hear my national anthem start playing and see the flag raising brought tears, tears of joy. And so it was a combination of my achievement and also making my country proud.
There are two races, VCB, that stand out for me in your career. They're not the Olympic gold medals. They're not the world titles.
Okay.
I'm wondering if you could guess any of them.
They're not the Olympics, not the World Championship, but it's on the junior level.
No, they're senior races.
Senior races, the national trials.
2008.
2008, 200 meters.
200 meters.
I can see why. Yeah. That was a tough 200 meters because, as you know, the history, I came fourth in the 100 meters.
Yeah.
And I had...
the 2 nights earlier.
Before?
Yeah, and I had a short turnaround time to refocus. And I was very disappointed because I thought I was in a good enough shape to make the team, and I was shocked by the result. But then I realized I could not stay in that depressed, disappointed zone. I had to get out of it and focus because I had one chance left to make the team in the 200 meters. And so I got back to the stadium, and I knew I was in good shape. And I just got out there and I just put a great race together, cemented my place, and went on to Beijing to defend my title. So it was a blessing when I look back at it, because for the first time in my career, I was running only one race at a national, at the Olympics, at a major championship, yes. And I ended up running the fastest 200 meters, which is still my PR to date. And so I feel fresh going to that race, and I was able to execute it the way I had in mind.
I remember the shock because you'd run 10:88 in Florida leading into the trials. You were the fastest Jamaican, and nobody even imagined that you would not be in the top 3 at the trials. But there was also something else about that 200. I remember when you arrived, I watched your training with Coach Brahman at the stadium Eastfield, and you were doing your 200 curves, about 20s or 30s. And I remember you did the first one, and I thought that didn't look too good. And Coach Brahman said, let's go again. And it didn't look too good. And Coach Brahman said, let's go again. And I was standing at the side, and I'd never seen 20 meters run so perfectly on a curve the third time. And Coach Brahman said, that's it. And that's exactly what I saw 5 days later in that 200 final. The perfect execution of what had been practiced in training.
Yeah,
And I can
absolutely.
just imagine how many times you had done that in your career.
Yeah. For me, with the 200 meters, the objective was always to come off the curve first, hold proper form to that 150, and just hang on for the last 50. So that is always our strategy. And in Beijing, Coach Maman and I talked about making sure that I get rid of Alison quickly. She was in front of me, which I loved. So the objective was to get her as quickly as possible, because I know when I'm in control, then she's going to try to run my race. And so the plan worked, and I was able to maintain, because I've never felt like I was dying before. That last 50 meters was so hard. When I crossed the line, I was almost like I could not breathe. But it was worth it, because I executed the way we had trained and talked about.
And this was
yeah.
Beijing.
Yeah.
Beijing.
And this
yeah.
was Beijing. Yeah, amazing, this one. And at the trials, one of the things that made the trials so special as well, you ran 21:94. I remember Grace Jackson, the 1988 Olympic 200 silver medalist, when you ran the 21:94, running up and down inside the stadium and saying, "Oh my God, I've finally seen sub 22 in Kingston." It was just so crazy. But in the last 20, Sharon Simpson, Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price, Karon Stewart, they were all close. You hadn't gone away from them in the way you did 6 weeks later at the Olympic Games. So that trials race, I can only imagine that you could have felt their presence coming down the stretch.
Yeah.
Just 2 nights after you'd lost to them in the 100.
Yeah.
That must have been taken something special out of you.
Yeah, I was confident, because, as I said, I had one shot of running an individual race at the Olympics.
Yeah.
I already lost in the 100 meters, and there was no room for error. The objective was to play it all out on the line, and the objective was to get in front of the field. And I don't think I've ever gotten a run down from behind at 200 meters. Get out, stay out, and that has always been the plan. And yeah, that was my strategy.
I can tell you one time when you got run down.
Yeah.
2011, but you ran her back down. And
Exactly, exactly. Come a leader, yes, come a leader. Yeah, I remember that.
Another gear out of nowhere.
Yeah, come a leader, come a leader. It was very short-lived.
Tell you what, I'm going to be telling you about that second moment that I'll never forget in Veronica's history. I wonder if you can guess it. We'll be talking about it after the break. All right, we're back on the SportsMax Zone. We're speaking with Veronica Campbell-Brown, one of the greats of track and field, the Jamaican who went to 5 Olympic Games, won 8 Olympic medals, 21 global medals in total, including gold medals at the World Youth, World Under-20s, the senior levels at both the Olympic Games and the World Championships. And we must never forget, although many said she wasn't a great starter when it came to the World Indoors, yeah, she knew how to start. 2 World Indoor titles at 60 meters. Quite a special, special woman. But we were speaking before the break about 2 of my most memorable moments watching Veronica Campbell-Brown. She guessed the first one, which was the 200 National Championship final in 2008. And I just wonder if she can guess what the second one is some years later.
Later. No, I don't know.
2015.
2015. Oh, another 200 meters at the Beijing World Championships.
Yes.
He loves the 200 meters.
You know why? You know why with this one?
Lane 2.
Not just that.
Okay.
It was everything leading up to the World Championships.
Yeah.
Some would say you were struggling. You didn't have the greatest season. You weren't running the type of VCB 200 times that we'd become accustomed to for a number of years.
Yeah.
And even in the semi-final,
Yeah.
you looked a shadow of yourself. And in the final, I don't know where that came from. I don't know that I've ever seen anything like it. It's as if you transformed and regained what used to be in that one moment.
I made it to the final, so I was meant to be there. I ended up in lane 2, which was a challenge. And because I was challenged, I had to push myself. And so I decided that I'm trying to get to the podium, and my objective was to run the curve as fast as possible and put myself in a good position to medal. And I ended up walking away with a bronze medal. So at the end of the day, I would say that I was satisfied based on how my season was going up to that point. But I was training really well. And sometimes you have a great training season, but you don't get the results. And sometimes we just don't know why. But I'm happy that things worked out the way it did in 2015.
But it's the resilience.
Yeah.
And even when I hear you speak about, I was challenged,
Yeah.
so I had to respond. Is that what your career was built on? I remember, for example, 2009.
Yeah.
You lost to Allison in the 200 in Berlin.
Yeah.
And I remember just seeing you immediately after the race. It's like you said, you got me this time, but watch this.
Yeah. Yeah, when it comes to sport, and I think this can apply to anything in life, it's all about our mental toughness, the things we say to ourselves, how we feel about situations that we're encountering. Those are the things that's going to help us get over our challenges and help us to maximize our potential and get to understand what we're capable of. And it's for me, in sport and in life, having that mental toughness, that positivity, believe in myself, believing that no matter what challenges I'm facing, I can get over it. And a lot of our challenges are to be embraced because they make us stronger. And that's just the mindset I have. And I think it has been working. And I think a lot of that comes back from my childhood, growing up in the church, and understand the benefit of being resilient and having faith and just keep going regardless of how things look.
In 2004, you opened up Pandora's box. By, as I mentioned before, becoming that first Caribbean sprinter to win gold. 2008, of course, at the national trials, we spoke about the fact that you would have been shocked by what happened in the 100 meters. But you obviously would have had a front row seat of the onslaught that the world would have witnessed in Beijing. And everything that took place in the 100, we're talking about the 122 here, which blew everyone, every observer out of the water, and then what you did in the 200 to defend your title. Yeah. What was it like being a part of that atmosphere? Because it wasn't scarce as it was in previous Olympics in the sprints. Yeah. You are now a part of what some would deem at the time the sprinting capital of the world. Yeah. What was it like being an observer during that time?
It was amazing. There was a lot of energy. There was a lot of positivity and confidence in the camp, and everybody knew what their role was, and everybody showed up, showed out, and we had great unity and know that we were going to go out there and represent Jamaica well. And so I think by we come together as a team, being united and feel good about where we were in our preparation and know that we were able to bring home a lot of medals. We were working towards seeing, okay, how well can Jamaica do as opposed to our biggest rival, the United States. And so everybody showed up and showed out.
But did it feel surreal to you? Because all of a sudden there are so many talented athletes who you probably would have been really confident in that, well, not only winning gold, but of course world records in the case of Usain Bolt. What was it like just observing that? And I'm sure that would have pushed you in your 200-meter race as well.
Yeah, it was great. We saw it coming because of the performances leading up to the Olympics. And it was a great environment to be in. It's good when we are on a team and there's a lot of confidence, there's a lot of positivity, there's a lot of prayer, and that really helped us to go out there and perform well.
Yeah. When you were coming through the system, moving from high school, things were pretty set back then. You leave high school, you go into the U.S. collegiate system, you either go through the junior college system and then into a Division I, which you did from Barton to Arkansas. That was it.
Yeah.
Now things are so different, and it appears as if there are so many options for these young athletes. Do you feel that it is tougher now for a talented 17 or 18-year-old to determine a path than it was for you when you were coming through?
With more options will make it a little harder. But what I would say to these athletes is to look at what they want for their future, look at what they think is best for them and make a decision that way. If the objective is to go on and get a scholarship and finish your degree and then transition to professional, do that. If they believe that they can have a strong future by skipping the college road and go straight to professional, do that. I think each athlete have to sit down with their families, their coaches, and figure out what is the best path, what do they want their future to look like, and make a decision based on that.
Did you ever at any point question the decision that you had made?
No, I'm very happy that I went through the collegiate system, and from there I went on to pro. I felt like I had overall great experience in my journey. I like the stages. I'm glad I did not skip any of those stages and go straight to pro. When I went to professional as a senior, I was ready. And I went on to win the 200 meters in Athens at the time. So I'm happy about the route I take, and I wouldn't do it any other way.
Yeah.
Can you talk briefly, Veronica, about your management? Because a lot of potentially strong teenagers may not realize their full potential because they lack the guidance. I know Claude Brand, your manager and agent, had been with you from your early days.
Right.
Can you talk about his work with you and how much he helped you through your career?
Absolutely. Having good guidance is very instrumental to making sure that athletes get on the right path. For me, it started with Nevermind. Nevermind was one of my mentors. He introduced me to Claude Bryan. Claude Bryan is a great individual. He cared about me as a human being, and so his advice were in my best interest. And so we had a great relationship. Even now that I retired, I can always reach out. And so I'm glad that I had people like Mr. Mighton, Claude Bryan, Mrs. Mighton, and people like those in my corner to guide me, because at a young age we may not know what is right for us, and so we need that good community who are going to tell us the truth and try to get us on the right path.
And I say that too because I know that Usain Bolt has credited Glenn Mills for propelling him to the level that he had, because there was a period when Usain was transitioning from junior to senior when he had some hiccups, yes, with injuries and so on, but he has credited Glenn Mills for really being a father figure and guiding him in a solid way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's needed. Our young student athletes definitely need guidance, and they need guidance from people who are really looking at their best interests and telling them exactly what they need to help them to have a better future, and not to be selfish in guiding them. It's not about, it has to be about the athlete, not about the club or even the parents. You have to make sure that you're looking at the best interests of the student athlete when you're giving advice.
Yeah, very much the case. By the way, are you playing some tennis these days?
I enjoy playing tennis. I do tennis with my family on occasion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the name Bridget Foster Hilton?
Of course, Bridget.
Yeah.
Actually,
yeah.
Bridget, at the 2004 Olympic Games, Bridget was the one who styled my ear for the podium.
Oh,
so
really?
Bridget is a sweetheart. I haven't spoken to her in a while, but she was like a big sister on the circuit and at the games.
She's an amateur tennis champion in Jamaica now.
Awesome.
Do you think you would be up for a match?
No, I don't think I would take her on, because the competition is gonna be turned up, and I don't think I've been practicing at that level to take her on, and she will be coming to win. So I don't know if I want to go lose to her.
You need some prep time, I suppose.
And yeah,
yes.
I need some coaching first.
Okay, fair enough. If you ever need a coach, you can call me.
Oh, cool.
To do what?
To coach her.
In tennis?
Yes.
Or maybe I should try to get Serena. We're in Florida.
Oh! I feel so hurt. Veronica Campbell-Brown, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the SportsMax Zone. Wish you all the best. You're back tomorrow at the JTA Sagicor National Athletics Championships. And one thing I know for sure, the kids will be inspired by your presence, and they'll be inspired by your words. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank
All
you.
right. One of the greats, without a doubt. Veronica Campbell-Brown, VCB. Let's go.